Hello, everyone. Today we are on chapter 16 of our chapter book, The Magic Misfits, the second story. And we're on a very exciting part right now. So in the last chapter that we read, the Misfits all went to the Grand Oak Resort to explore the rear wing of the hotel, which is, remember, the rear wing means the back building of the hotel that's been closed for years and years and years because of a fire that occurred many years ago. A fire that was started by someone who they never caught, but it was always suspected, it was rumored that Mr. Dante Vernon set the fire with his friends in the Emerald Ring, which of course was a shock to Layla because she knows her dad and she knows he wouldn't do anything like that. So she's wondering what's going on. So they went to the hotel to try to explore this closed building to learn more. And Layla and Ridley ended up finding the room where the Emerald Ring used to hold their club and practice their magic. And they found some symbols on the walls, they found some initials of people's names, and they found a message, let's see, where action meets thought. Oh, I should have pulled it up beforehand. Oh, there it is. Where action meets thought, we discover reward. So that's this message they found. And so Layla says, let's use this message. Oh, please don't step on my computer. Thank you. So Layla says, let's use this message. Let's try to find this reward, whatever that is. And so they thought about it and they decided to go down into the basement of this building to try to see what they can find. So here we go. Do you think they're going to find anything in the basement? I don't know. Chapter 16. Staring into the darkness from the top of the staircase, Theo asked, "Are you sure you all want to do this?" "You're welcome to wait up here with me," said Ridley. "There's no way I can make it down these steps." "We'll be quick," said Layla. Carter removed his flashlight from his satchel. "You know, there are things other than ghosts that should make us nervous. So everyone be careful," he said, taking the first step down. Layla, Theo, and Ollie crept slowly after him. Ridley and Izzy stayed behind. At the bottom, Carter's flashlight swept across the stone floor below and the cobweb-covered rafters overhead. Layla could barely see. She heard the others trample down the steps behind her. Theo and Ollie brushed against her on either side, clutching at his arms. It was so quiet that Layla could hear her friends breathing. She felt something pull against her ankle, like a string or a wire, and she nearly tripped. But before she could check it out, something tall and pale appeared in the far corner. Layla gasped as Carter shone his light at it. Like something from a bad dream, a skeleton jumped out. Its arms and legs shivered and shook as it slowly moved toward her. What? A skeleton? Okay, let's keep going. What's going on here? Carter froze in his tracks, the light trembling in his hand. Ollie and Theo shrieked, and Layla leapt away from them. The skeleton jittered forward, then to her surprise, it dropped in a heap to the floor. From up the stairs, Ridley cried out, "Is everyone okay down there?" Carter crept toward the pile of bones, keeping the light steady. Layla gulped down a hard knob that had moved into her esophagus. She was worried that the thing might jump up again and attack. "Wires," Carter whispered to himself. He reached out and grabbed what looked like fishing lines dangling down from a railing. Layla caught a glimpse of the light reflecting off them. "How bizarre," said Theo. Interesting. So they go to investigate the skeleton and find out that it's on wires, it's on strings, to make it look like it's moving. Why would there be this skeleton in the basement on strings? Who's trying to scare people, I wonder? A rail was attached to the rafters. Following the light, Layla noticed where the rail originated. a far corner of the space. Her face lit up like a bonfire when Carter shifted his beam and briefly blinded her. "Hey!" Ridley shouted. "You guys are scaring us up here." "Don't worry yourselves," Layla called. "Just a bit of a fright is all." "I'll go get them," said Ollie. He rushed back upstairs. Carter wandered toward the corner, exploring the spot where the skeleton had come from. Layla raced over to him, not wanting to be left in the dark. "What is it?" said Ridley, edging down the stairs in her chair with Ollie and Izzy's help, step by careful step. "A booby trap," said Theo, staring up at the rail. "Someone rigged up a tripwire and a fake skeleton. There is probably a hidden system of pulleys somewhere nearby. Over time, the wires must have decayed. That is why it fell to the floor." "But why set up a booby trap?" Ollie asked, reaching into his pocket and pulling out his mouse. He nuzzled it with his nose. Izzy nudged his shoulder. Obviously, it was to trap a booby." Carter laughed. "No, they did it to scare people away. A classic trick." "Was this before or after the fire, the flood, the mold, and the infestation?" Ridley asked. "I'm sure my dad would know," said Layla. "I wonder what they were trying to scare people away from." "Pirate treasure," said Izzy. "That's usually what dancing skeletons are for." "Mineral Wells is landlocked, silly," Ridley scoffed, and she rolled across the bumpy stone floor. "Would have been kind of difficult for pirates to get up through these hills to us landlubbers, don't you think?" "Maybe the Emerald Ring was trying to scare people away from this corner," said Carter, who was focusing on the floor and the basement walls near where he was standing. There didn't seem to be anything remarkable about the spot. The stones were smooth and grouted with old, crumbly cement. So this is interesting. So obviously they got spooked when this skeleton jumped out of the corner and was like, "Rah." Well, it didn't make any sounds, but it looked like it was moving, right? And so that would have been scary. But then when they investigated, they found that it was all just a trick set up with strings and a tripwire to make it look like the skeleton was alive, right? So now they know they're safe and they're okay, and they're not scared anymore. But now they're like, who set this up? When was this set up? Why was it set up? Who was someone trying to scare and why? What do you think? Do you think it was set up by the Emerald Ring all those years ago when they were kids? Or do you think it's more recent, like maybe Sandra set it up? I don't know. Let's keep going and find out. But we all know that magicians are about misdirection, Layla stated. I doubt Sandra or the others in the old club would have set up a trap that pointed directly to the place they were trying to keep secret. She nodded at the track that ran across the ceiling, the path that the skeleton had danced along. More likely they'd choose the other side of the room. Curious, Carter shone his light at the opposite corner. To Layla's surprise, the stones in the floor over there looked different. They had white markings on them. Together, the magic misfits rushed to check them out. Ooh. In the center of each stone was a faint image drawn in chalk. Layla gasped. These are the symbols from the tarot deck, she said. Just like the ones carved into the wall upstairs. Ridley pushed through the others to get a better view. Layla's right. The suits, swords, cups, coins, and wands. Every stone in this particular corner was marked with one of the small icons. They practically glowed under the flashlight beam. You think Sandra did this? Carter asked. Maybe, Layla answered, uncertain. Why here? Theo studied the floor. What is the significance? I think I got one of Noodle's hairs in my mouth. Thanks, Noodles. The riddle, Ridley whispered. Where action meets thought, we discover reward. Reward, said Izzy. Wow, we found it, said Ollie. We're rich. Flat out stinking rich. Izzy did a little tap dance. I'm gonna get a pony, and a pony for Illy. Ollie's eyes went wide as his imagination went wild. And I'm gonna buy the world's biggest ice cream sundae, and a new mouse house for Ozzy. Layla shook her head. We have to figure out what it means first. Ridley, what else do you know about the tarot symbols? Way too much for me to remember right now, Ridley said. I do know that the symbols on these stones are connected to the suits on playing cards. Coins are like diamonds, representing wealth or security. Wands are like clubs, symbols of action and inspiration. Cups are hearts, vessels that can be full or empty, and swords equate to spades, sharp tools that cut and divide like thought and analysis, helping us reach the secret center of what we desire. Theo gasped, smacking his fist into his palm. That's it. He glanced at the others. Ridley just said it herself. Wands are like clubs, action swords are like spades, thought, where action meets thought. We need to find a stone marked with both a wand and a sword, said Layla. All right, let's break that down for a second. So they've been seeing these symbols around this building that are symbols that you can find on tarot cards. Kind of like a regular deck of cards has hearts, diamonds, spades, and clubs. Tarot cards have these other symbols on them. So Ridley just broke it down for us. She said wands are like clubs, cups are like hearts, swords are like spades, and yeah, is that it? And then Theo said, Ridley just said it herself. Wands are like clubs, and those represent action. Wands and clubs represent action. And then swords are like spades, which represent thought. And the riddle said, where action meets thought. So if wands are like action and swords are like thought, they need to find a spot where the wands meet the swords. And then that might be the solution to the riddle. Let's find out if they figured it out. We need to find a stone marked with both a wand and a sword, said Layla. Carter handed the flashlight to Ridley, and the rest of the Misfits got down on their hands and knees to search. Layla knelt by a stone where the image of a wooden wand crossed the image of a gleaming sword. I found it! Bum, bum, but that's the end of our chapter. Oh my goodness. So they found the stone that has both the wand and the sword on it, which they think answers the riddle where action meets thought. So do you think that they're going to find this reward, whatever the reward is? Or do you think there's not going to be anything there? I don't know. And then who left this reward there? Was this left by the Emerald Ring, and why? And we still need to find out what's up with this skeleton. Well, they think that the Emerald Ring might have set it up to deter people away from this secret reward that they've hidden. Which just takes me back to the thought of, well, if they were trying to hide it with this riddle and with this secret booby trap, then what is it they hid? What is this reward? Oh my goodness, I don't know. I'm excited, but we're going to have to wait until next time to read chapter 17 and find out if they actually do find this reward and what it is. I'm excited. All right, well, I will see you next time. Bye, friends.